What's up, everyone? Dan Pierre, the Bald Guy here on the It's the Bald Guy channel. Hey, in today's video, we're going to cover a key subject that is not taught enough in schools, but it's a subject that our young people, our children, our young adults, our youth really need to be better educated on than they are presently. It's not taught in schools or maybe only barely referenced in schools. So what I want to do is tell you what it is and then give you some important parts of it as suggestions to educate your children on. So let's cover that straight ahead right here on the It's the Bald Guy channel. So financial literacy is the topic we're talking about, something that's very important and again, not referenced enough or not taught enough, if at all, in schools. Before we go any further, as a disclaimer, this video should not be considered as financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor, and so this is information that is commonly available and also includes some opinions and some of my thinking that I'll share with you, our viewers and listeners of the It's the Bald Guy channel. For financial advice, always please consult your own personal financial advisor. They know your needs, they know you, and what future direction you want to go in. They know that stuff best, so always consult them on any matters pertaining to your own interest. So relative to school, lots of great subjects, important information is taught in schools, history, chemistry, language, and on and on. Two of my favorites were math and physics, actually, when I was in school and growing up. But financial literacy is seriously lacking. And so if you love your kids, you really want to make sure that you do what's necessary so that they are as financially literate as possible before they get too far along in their lives. I would say certainly by the end of high school, you want to have given them at least some financial literacy education. It'll be a big advantage with them moving ahead into their future. As they get older, they're going to be making more and more decisions. And so it's really imperative that they have this as a background, financial literacy, and also that finances are and always will be a key part of life. So financial literacy shouldn't be fire hosed. It's something that should be taught over time, over a period of years. It should be an ongoing subject with just continual ongoing education, sort of like a minor is at university level. It should be an ongoing subject, and it will be a hugely important part of their lives, and you really just want to ensure that they understand how finances work. Some possible sources of such education, and this is not the be-all end-all list, there's more, but you could sign up for courses yourself and have them join you and in attendance at those courses, as long as there's no age limit involved. Meet with a financial professional, maybe the same individual that's already helping you look after your finances, if you have such an individual or know of one. Involve them in family financial discussions as well. Involve your children, just so they get the look and feel of such subjects. You're not necessarily going to be looking to them for advice, but you're at least getting them to hear a lot of the terms and lingo and understand problems, and just get them involved. And or else you can just teach them yourself if you think you're able, and if not, there's gobs of material online, including YouTube, and they can sort of do a combo of being taught and self-research. Nothing helps learning by going off and kind of learning something on your own. So lots of stuff, especially here on YouTube. And then TV and radio financial shows. That's a favorite of mine. I learned an awful lot about personal finances just listening to radio financial shows, and I would catch them on the weekend usually, and they were a great way to pick up info and subject matter and lingo. Also gobs of books and magazines, pubs available as well. So financial literacy subjects that you would want your children, young people to be aware of should include, though not limited to, and these are my suggestions. First of all, currencies. Okay, currency, very important. Currency can be looked at in lots of different ways: fiat currencies, precious metals, and cryptocurrencies, just to name a few. In terms of fiat currencies, first of all, what currency is? Okay, what currency is and what currency isn't in general. And then how do fiat or paper currencies, how do they work? We have so many that are global. It's a global economy, and there's an awful lot that's predicated off of the U.S. dollar. So what are the interrelationships between the various currencies, and just how does that work? It's very important that when they open their wallet or open yours, that they really understand just what is it that's behind the paper. Precious metals, or real currency, as many experts would insist, they don't look at paper currency as being real currency, but rather precious metals are. And so you want to at least make sure that they understand a lot of the popular ones like gold, silver, etc., what they mean, and just how do they work, and what their role is in an overall financial plan. Cryptocurrencies, a lot of people or some people anyway, look at cryptocurrencies as being sort of pie in the sky, and hey, you just give it a couple more years and there's not going to be any cryptocurrencies around anymore. They're just going to kind of go by the way of a pipe dream. However, we believe differently here on the It's the Bald Guy channel. We think many of them are probably going to go away over time, but there are several that are in regular use right now around the world, and we don't think they're going anywhere. So it's important to at least understand what cryptocurrencies are, what makes them different from, say, precious metals and paper money, and at least have a general understanding, because they could very well be, and already are on their way to, becoming a technology and a wave of the future. And then also, although it doesn't exist these days, the gold standard. Now, the US dollar went off the gold standard in 1971. However, how the gold standard works should still be explained. It's very important, especially in these days of printing money rapidly, as the United States Fed is doing. And so what are the effects of that against all currencies worldwide? And just how does the gold standard work, and how does the absence of the gold standard work? Very important material to cover. So then investing, the value of saving, and some would argue that saving is not what it used to be. It used to be you earned a bunch of money, put it in the bank, and then got paid some interest on it, and your money just grew that way. However, these days of very, very, very low interest rates really have slowed down just saving, just that model, putting money in the bank and just letting it sit there. However, saving still very much has its place. If you're going to invest in anything such as stocks, bonds, and other market instruments, real estate, precious metals and commodities, cryptocurrency, if that's what you want to do, then you're still going to need to save money, to put money away. So getting into a mode of saving and paying yourself first, and then paying your bills, that sort of knowledge and technique are important to share with your young people. So the value of saving lives on. And the value of investing in oneself, of being able to invest in your education, in your mind, in your body, in your health, in your future, that has a lot to do with money. And it's the right thing to do for a young person to develop themselves. Once you get out of school, the process of self-development and self-investment never stops. And then leveraging one's money, which is the objective of investing. The importance of leveraging and compounding and building and dollar cost averaging. And there's a lot of terminology that's in there. But all of these are easy to do techniques. But it's very important that our young people are educated on them before they get very far. Again, I would argue that by or before the end of high school, they should at least be a part of some sort of financial literacy training or at-home education or something. And then the concept of value, which is something that's not often thought about. A lot of people think of value as, hey, just getting the cheapest price. Hey, you get the cheapest price, you get the best value. Well, sometimes that's true. But value is a much bigger concept that our young people really need to think about. It's involved with any and every purchase that they're going to make, no matter how large or how small. There's a lot that goes into value. It doesn't mean necessarily the cheapest price. You could pay a lot more for an item, a piece of merchandise, and yet get a better value than one did just by paying the cheapest price. There's a lot into it, as you see in the graphic here. Desirability is something of value to them in their lives, period. Maybe they shouldn't buy it because, as it turns out, if they give it some thought, whatever the item or merchandise is, maybe it will not have any value in their lives, let alone thinking about value monetarily. So value is something that needs to be constantly thought about, ongoing. And then the whole purpose of training your children to be financially literate is so that they are equipped to think financially, financial thinking and financial planning. Okay, every major decision that they make in their lives, financials aren't the only aspect of decisions in life, and they're not the most important thing in life. Things like family, health, and and interpersonal relations. I mean, they certainly rank way up on top there. But financial thinking is not far behind them. And so in terms of looking at matters as they approach them in life, constantly need to be thinking financially and teaching them financial responsibility as well. So hugely important. And then financial planning, any sort of major or minor decision going forward, should be thought about in advance with some kind of financial contingency put into place. If things don't go right, if they are going to invest in something or buy a house, etc., something happens, they lose their job, they need to have the financial plan, the contingency planning in place to deal with it, of course. Major decisions, things like buying a house or buying an automobile, usually the second largest investment that people will make. They need to be able to handle those and have the right forethought and financial thinking going in. What field or profession, for that matter, do they want to go into? They are just graduating high school, or maybe they will be sometime soon. And if they're looking at a university pursuit, if they want to go to university to study a particular subject, then they need to think about what's in demand out there. They may love a particular line of work, but if there's no opportunities or no jobs, or if the forecast is dismal for them going forward, then you really want to think about something else to do. At the end of the day, it's what sells that's important out there, what's lucrative, and what's going to be worth the investment and money and time. And that word investment is very key in terms of deciding on what university to go to, because it is student debt that fractures people, especially young people. After they graduate, that student debt is going to follow them around for quite a while. And in terms of ever working towards financial independence or financial freedom, they're always going to have that dark cloud of the student debt. Now, that doesn't say you don't go to school, but what it might say is, instead of going to that big, huge university with the big, huge price tag on it to study a certain subject, you want to think about some things. One is just how many people are studying that field that your child wants to study at that university, and how many of them are getting work when they graduate? How many of them are getting jobs, getting picked up? Also, would it be better to get that same degree in that same subject from a university that somewhere else that's cheaper? Maybe you don't have the big university name attached to it, and maybe that is something that is not as important as people think it is. And so you go to that smaller school, get that degree, and do well, and you pay less for it over time, whether or not you need financial aid. Also, many schools in the various states and provinces, there are some that will give you or provide you education for little to no money. There are some like community colleges and the like, whereby you can get an awful lot done for very little to no tuition. In some cases, it's free, depending upon where you are. So those are all things to consider. And then also entrepreneurship versus career and a job. And it's not so much that your young person should decide, okay, I'm going to graduate high school and I'm just going to go become an entrepreneur. Probably, and very often it is done in succession. Somebody gets out, gets their degree, and then they go off and take a job, and then they're working towards entrepreneurship. Point here is that they should at least understand what entrepreneurship is and what it affords and what it allows. It's in itself not a pipe dream. It takes a lot of hard work, entrepreneurship, but there is an awful lot of reward and financial freedom that can be obtained if you do it right. Now, we just put out a video on entrepreneurship, so I'll include the link to that video below this one in the information section. So, just in summary, the name of the game here is to give your child, your youth, your young adult a jump start. Financial smarts are much more important than is presently being emphasized. They're not being emphasized. And before they get too far down the road, they really need to understand a bit about financials. They don't need to be experts. Nobody is. But they just need to understand that, okay, now that you've progressed to certain ways in your life and in your schooling, now you're going to really start to have to make big decisions. And so understanding financials and at least knowing that there's a financial world out there and that they're going to have to deal with it more and more as they get older and older is really important. And you can clearly see how this would be a major advantage. Learn from other people's mistakes, have them do that. Learn from your mistakes, my mistakes, everybody's mistakes, so that they don't have to make these mistakes on their own. So they'll be that much ahead of the game. So thank you for listening and watching this video. I encourage you to sit down, think about, and talk with your children how it is that you're going to train them financially and what the best way is. Lots of opportunities, again, lots of material out there online and right here on YouTube as well. That's very useful. If you thought this video was helpful to you, then feel free to leave some comments in the comment section or questions. Be happy to answer them or address your comments. Also, click the like button if you thought this was worthwhile and an important message. Share this video with anyone you know that has children, because it's something that really needs to be thought about more so than ever before. But if this was useful to you, click the like button, click the subscriptions button, and click the notifications bell, and we'll be happy to inform you, or you will be informed, of other videos that we'll be coming out with right here on the channel. So with that, I look forward to seeing you on other videos upcoming. Thanks for being here and listening, and we look forward to our time together again, upcoming right here on the It's the Bald Guy channel. Bless you, and bye for now.